They called me just the cleaner at my sister's wedding, in front of everyone. They laughed, he raised his glass, but I brought receipts, contracts, emails, ownership papers. One question silenced the room. Should I explain, or will you? That's when everything changed. My name is Elena, and the first time I heard my father say, "Oh, she just cleans houses," I felt something inside me go very still. Not broken, still. It was my sister's wedding day. The air smelled like roses and champagne. White satin draped across the ballroom ceiling like soft clouds. Crystal glasses chimed. Laughter bounced off gold-trimmed walls. And there I was, standing near the back of the reception hall, wearing a navy dress I bought on clearance, listening to my parents introduce me to the groom's family. "This is our youngest," my mother said, her smile tight and practiced. "She just cleans houses." Just. Cleans. Houses. They said it the way people say, "She's between things," or "She's figuring it out," like I was a temporary inconvenience, like I'd somehow failed the family resume. My older sister, Vanessa, was glowing in lace and diamonds. Her fiancé, Daniel, came from a wealthy family, country club wealthy, vineyard on weekends wealthy. And me? I owned a residential cleaning company, but my parents never said that part. They never mentioned that I had 12 employees, that I serviced luxury estates, that I had contracts with property management firms, that I cleared 6 figures last year. No. She just cleans houses. I remember the way my aunt looked at me, the polite nod, the sympathetic smile, the quick change of subject. I smiled too. I always smile. Because here's the thing no one knew that day. I built something they couldn't understand, and I built it quietly, while they were busy pretending I was small. The reception moved into speeches. Forks clinked against plates. The scent of garlic butter and roasted chicken filled the room. The band softened into a gentle instrumental. Daniel stood to speak. Tall, confident, perfect posture. The golden son-in-law. My father leaned back in his chair like a king surveying his kingdom. Vanessa squeezed Daniel's hand, and I took a slow sip of water, because I had a feeling. You see, 3 weeks before the wedding, I received an email by mistake. It wasn't meant for me. It was a forwarded message sent from my father to Daniel's father. Subject line: Elena, just so you know. Attached was a summary of my career situation. He wrote, "She runs a small cleaning side hustle. We're hoping she'll figure something more stable out eventually." Side hustle. Eventually. I stared at that email for a long time. Then I did what I always do. I prepared. Because I have a rule. Say it with me. Never let them define you in a room you helped build. Daniel tapped his glass for attention. The room quieted. And that's when the betrayal truly began. If you enjoy the video, please subscribe. Daniel smiled warmly at the crowd. "I just want to thank everyone for being here," he began. "Family means everything to Vanessa and me." Polite applause. He continued, "And I want to thank my future in-laws for raising such an incredible woman." My mother dabbed at her eyes. My father nodded with quiet pride. Then Daniel laughed lightly and said, "And of course, every family has its colorful members." A few chuckles. My stomach tightened. He looked directly at me. "Elena," he said, "the hardest working house cleaner I know." Laughter. Louder this time. Someone at my table shifted uncomfortably. My cousin stared at her plate. Daniel wasn't done. "Honestly, it's refreshing," he continued. "Not everyone needs big ambitions. Some people are just meant to support." The word lingered in the air. Support. Like furniture. Like background music. My father laughed. Actually laughed. I felt the heat crawl up my neck. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. But I didn't flinch, because I had prepared for this moment. Daniel raised his glass toward me. "To Elena, may she always keep things tidy." The room erupted into applause, and that's when I stood up. Slowly. Calmly. The applause faded. Confused. I smiled. "Daniel," I said gently, "should I explain it now, or would you like to?" Silence. You could hear the ice settling in the glasses. Daniel blinked. "Explain what?" I tilted my head slightly. "The part about the contracts." My father stiffened. Vanessa's smile faltered. I continued, still soft, still composed. "The commercial cleaning contracts, the property management agreements, the LLC filings, the revenue statements." The room shifted. Daniel let out a small laugh. "I think we're getting off track." "No," I said quietly. "I think we're right on it." My heart was pounding, but my voice didn't shake. 3 weeks ago," I continued, "Dad sent your father an email about my side hustle. I received a copy, accidentally." My father's face drained of color. I let the silence stretch. I didn't respond because I preferred documentation over emotion. I reached into my clutch and pulled out a small folder. Not dramatic, not flashy, just paper. "I brought copies," I said. The room was frozen now. Aunt Maria's mouth hung open slightly. My uncle leaned forward. Daniel's confidence flickered. "These," I said, holding up the top page, "are the contracts my company signed this year, including the pre-wedding deep clean service for this venue." A ripple of whispers. "Yes," I continued, "the ballroom you're standing in, my team prepared it." I looked around the room. "We clean the estates of 3 families here tonight. We service Daniel's parents' vacation property in Aspen." Daniel went pale. His father slowly turned his head toward him. "And," I added softly, "we just finalized a merger last month." That part landed like thunder. Vanessa whispered, "What?" I met her eyes. I didn't announce it. I didn't need applause. I looked back at Daniel. "But if you're going to make me the punchline of your speech—" I paused. Then I said the line that had been sitting in my chest for weeks. "Never let them define you in a room you helped build." The words echoed. Daniel swallowed. "This is inappropriate." "No," I said gently, "what's inappropriate is belittling someone whose contracts you never bothered to read." I slid a final document across the table toward his father. "Page 4, I said, "my company acquired a 30% stake in the management firm overseeing your commercial properties." His father's brows furrowed. He flipped to the page. Silence. Then, "Well," he muttered carefully, "this appears accurate." And that was the moment. The shift. The air changed sides. Daniel's confidence evaporated in real time. His posture collapsed inward. His jaw tightened. His hand trembled slightly as he reached for his drink. "This is ridiculous," he said, but his voice lacked force. My father tried to interject. "Elena, this isn't the time." "Oh, it's the perfect time," I said calmly, "because humiliation loves an audience, and so does truth." "I never needed you to brag about me," I continued, looking at my parents. "I only asked for respect." My mother's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't speak. I turned back to Daniel. "You assumed I was small because you never asked. You believed a narrative because it was convenient." He opened his mouth. Closed it. Vanessa stood slowly. "You told me she was struggling." I met her gaze. "Did you ever ask me?" Silence. Her shoulders dropped. Daniel's father cleared his throat. "Son," he said evenly, "perhaps you owe Elena an apology." There it was, a neutral voice, acknowledging truth. Daniel's lips parted, but pride wrestled with reality. Finally, quietly, he said, "I'm sorry." It wasn't heartfelt, but it was public, and that mattered. The band members pretended to adjust their instruments. Guests whispered openly now, but the tone had changed. No longer pity, curiosity, respect. My father leaned toward me, voice low. "You embarrassed us." I held his gaze. "No," I said softly, "you embarrassed yourselves." The consequences came slowly after that night. Daniel's father requested a private meeting with me the following week. We renegotiated contracts, with new terms, stronger protections. Vanessa called me 2 days later. She cried. not because of the money, because she realized she had believed them too. As for my parents, they stopped saying just. Now, when someone asks what I do, my father says she owns a company. It's a small change, but words shape rooms. And here's what I learned. People will shrink you to fit their comfort. They will simplify your ambition so they don't feel threatened. They will call your empire a side hustle, if you let them. But you don't have to scream to take power back. Sometimes you just stand up, calmly, with proof in your hands, and you ask, should I explain it, or would you like to? Because the truth doesn't need volume, it needs timing. I didn't ruin my sister's wedding. I corrected the narrative, and I walked out of that ballroom taller than I walked in. Never let them define you in a room you helped build. If this story resonated with you, subscribe for more real stories about standing up for yourself.